Welcome to this deep meditation for healing from gaslighting or recovering from trauma bonds or toxic relationships. To find and rediscover yourself again. Find yourself in a comfortable position. Allow your body to relax and to release any tension. As you listen to my voice, allow your body to relax even more. Meditation is not work. There is no work for you to do. There is only relaxing. Even if you fall asleep during this meditation, my words will reach the part of the mind that needs this information. So it is okay for you to fall asleep. Take a deep breath deep into your belly and let your belly expand and then deflate again as you exhale. You feel yourself relaxing from head to toe. Even your face is relaxed. Feel your body sinking deeply into the surface beneath you, merging, supported, safe. Take a deep breath and feel the edges of your energy body expand outwards, becoming larger and encompassing more and more and more of the space around you, becoming more and more part of the universe, the stars, the galaxies. Make friends with this expansion and notice that there is an emptiness that has previously scared you. But right now, you're beginning to feel comforted right here, as if you were an embryo floating safely within a mother's womb, safe, soothed, secure, and you're feeling seen and you're feeling held. Acknowledge and reaffirm your own value and mentally repeat this statement after me. I choose who I want to maintain any relationship with, and I don't feel bad for cutting off communication with someone when I don't feel comfortable with them. It's okay if you fall into a deep sleep now. Just let these auto-suggestions wash over your mind and your heart. Penetrate deeply into your deepest core of who you are to reveal your true strength and your true worth. These auto-suggestions are statements made from a first-person perspective. They are meant to reframe how you feel about yourself and to restore your true sense of worth, to reframe your identity. You are safe here. Sink into a deep sleep and let these auto-suggestions wash over you. I don't compare myself to others. I know that there is no such thing as more or less self-worth. I am unconditionally worthy. Unconditionally worthy of love, just the way I am. I imagine myself as a little infant that is already perfectly worthy of being fed, of being clothed, of being cuddled, of being loved. This is how I remember that I am born with unconditional worth. My self-worth does not come from anyone living on earth. I am simply born worthy. And I feel this deeply in my heart. I take time to reconnect with my identity. There's no hurry. I allow myself a deep exploration of who I am, who I was, and who I am becoming. My life is now in my own hands, and I have all the time in the world to rediscover myself. I like to sit down with myself and a pen and paper and start my rediscovery by simply writing about myself. It helps me get in touch with me, the me that I might have lost, and I write down what I love, what drives me crazy, what I fear, what makes me tick, what makes me laugh, what makes me inspired. The more I write, the more I start to feel a great and deep sense of love for myself. Sometimes, if it helps me, I also journal about how the gaslighter hurt me and what feelings I'm going through. When I write feelings down, it helps because it gets them out of my head onto paper. It helps me to not overanalyze. I remember how I got used to analyzing every move I made because it was impossible to tell what was setting the gaslighter off. And I was getting blamed for their behavior. I remember how I tried to analyze their behavior to try to figure things out, and now I have learned to just let it go. I just let it go. Sometimes I write down what happened, but I let go. I gained something by going through this experience. I learned that I have a fountain of strength within me. I noticed that even though I have always been an empathetic and deeply caring person, I am even more empathetic now, and I also have strong boundaries, and I no longer feel bad about holding others accountable for their actions. It feels like a relief to unload this enabling behavior that I used to get drawn into. I know that I was in a dark period in my life, but now that it is behind me, as unpleasant as it was, I realize that I have grown. I feel stronger. I am learning healthy things and behaviors that I can do to soothe my hurt. And I'm enjoying learning more healthy coping mechanisms. I'm learning to treat myself with tender and loving care. I am exploring what things I do that recharge my batteries, and what things or activities or people drain my energy. I made a list of things that raise me up, and I put it on my fridge. And when I start to feel low, I can go look at my list. I have things on the list that are so easy to do, like go out in the sun, or read some poetry, or listen to one of my favorite uplifting songs, or do 20 jumping jacks, or going for a walk, calling a trusted friend, painting, reading, watching a movie, going to a swimming pool for a swim, doing some deep breathing techniques, or meditation like this one. I have things to do to raise me up that take only 1 minute to do on that list, and I can choose anything. I have things that take longer too. Sometimes I feel like listening to a sound healing or guided meditations, and I have self-care activities on the list, like take a shower, or get a pedicure, wash my hair, or even things like clean out one drawer in the kitchen or tidy up my bedroom, because there are times when I feel recharged after I take control of my living area. I call this list on my refrigerator my emotional first aid kit. And when I need to, I read it over, and then I choose to do one thing, and one thing only, from that list. And I choose the thing that feels best in the moment. My goal and my journey right now is simply to find myself again. By noticing how I feel and not judging how I feel. By exploring activities that I enjoy, and by being in charge of making the choice of what to do. This is helping me to self-accept more and more. I'm learning how to make choices on my own, and it is beginning to feel good. I came to realize that practicing self-compassion and self-patience is essential, and it is a part of my healing process. There was once tactics used by a gaslighter, and those tactics were meant to deconstruct my sense of self. And I allow it to take time to rebuild and repair my sense of self. I am worth it, no matter what. My healing process has no definite timeline, but I can feel myself getting stronger and stronger every day. I have cut contact with any people who don't allow me to have my own experience, or who criticize my experience. If I take up contact with them later, when I'm strong again, that's fine, but for now, I have given myself the gift of building myself up. I'll make those decisions in a few months or more. For now, it feels like a relief to allow myself to be safe from mental abuse. This has made my healing faster. Some people call this no contact or radio silence, and I call it freedom. Freedom to stretch myself, to rediscover myself, and to increase my sense of self. I am very attuned to when people try to use my energy to make themselves feel better, and I have healthy boundaries now. I say no. And I know how to walk away from a conversation that bothers me. I know how to say no without explaining my no. I have completely stopped engaging in any form of conflict or arguments with people who are only in it to boost their own egos. I'm very aware of this behavior, and it gives me joy to have this awareness. It is easy to feel better about myself as I walk away from people who drain me on purpose. There's no need to justify my feelings. By taking responsibility for safeguarding my own emotions, I have simultaneously learned to detect blame shifting, and I just give them back the blame that didn't belong to me in the first place. When people deflect blame away from their actions, I make a mental note for myself. I say, they are proving that they are gaslighting me. Now, if people show no capacity for remorse and reflection, even after I explain why they are hurting me, I know that they are unlikely to understand my perspective. I allow that to be as it may, and if I need to, I walk away and I use my self-validation skills. Instead, I maintain relationships with people who, just like me, show emotional maturity and capacity for self-reflection, and who show an interest in my experience, and who are capable of mutual empathy. It is becoming easier and easier to recover from these relationships, and I am surrounding myself with others who care about me and who help me reorient my sense of reality and self-worth. This is important, and it is a priority for me. This means that sometimes I share some of my experience with those I care about, so that they can help me fact-check a situation and act as a sounding board to strengthen my connection with my true self. If I'm not in a place where I feel comfortable sharing my experience with others, I instead choose to journal, because my sense of self and my ability to self-validate increases as I put my thoughts and emotions on paper. If I need to, I choose to reach out to anonymous support groups, or reading self-help books or podcasts, or listening to stories of others who have recovered from similar situations as me. Hearing their stories gives me hope again. I have begun to reconnect with people who I lost contact with during my time with a gaslighter, the people who care about me. I know that having other people to confide in is crucial, and now I know how to check for signs of gaslighting, so I also know how to begin to feel safe with people. And I know that it is okay, that trust builds over time. I know that love bombing is not a sign of true love, but a sign of insecurity within the other person. I know that I am safe to let trust build slowly and to let things take time. And that pretending to be a trusting person is not a sign of self-validation. Prioritizing self-care is now completely normal for me. It is second nature. I know there was a time when I felt guilty for even the most basic self-care, but I realized that I was exposed to a very conditional style of love, and that is what caused me to think that I have to earn love. That I feel more and more unconditional love for myself, and I know that I am worth unconditional love. So I even give myself unconditional love. By focusing on myself, I feel more capable of standing up for myself and dealing with the challenges that life is throwing at me. I'm feeling very capable. Some gaslighting situations are easier to leave than others, but romantic relationships, well, it's a little tougher. I know that this is true for many people and not just me. So when my journey to self is too painful, I simply seek out the help of a licensed professional, someone who specializes in relationship therapy or trauma therapy. This has helped me more than anything else, and I feel that my transformation is so profound and that I am now in control of my own inner space again. I'm now able to define what I'm going through, and most of all, I am able to get past it. I have certainly come a long way learning how to heal and how to love and how to approve of myself. Yet, of course, there are times when I sink back into my old ways of self-pity and depression, but the difference is that now that I'm learning how to love myself unconditionally, I love and approve of the self-pity too, and I move through these moments with as much compassion for myself as I can. I believe in myself, and now I relate to my thoughts and feelings differently. Intuition is one of those things that I know is there, and if my intuition is trying to tell me something, I now listen to that voice. I'm a person who picks up a wide range of signals from around me at all times, and my intuition is usually quite accurate, now that I listen to it. I used to tend to doubt this voice and disown my intuition. And the silencing of my intuition is actually what sometimes led me to make bad decisions and even to enter into relationships with people who invalidate me. I have learned that my experience is actually the most important to me, and my intuition is worthy of listening to. I am learning to cultivate self-trust and faith in what my body and my feelings are telling me. I am making every little choice on my own, from what to eat and when to go to bed, big choices, little choices. Even though big choices still feel a little intimidating, and might feel a little intimidating for a while, the more I take the time to celebrate the little things I decide, the more I feel capable of making more significant decisions on my own. I learn to trust myself by paying attention to how I feel in different situations and learning how to read the signs that my intuition is giving me. By tuning into my body and my feelings, my somatic experiences, I pay attention to my gut feeling or tightness in my chest. In other words, I am learning to listen to signals from my body sensations and my feelings, not just the thoughts in my mind. Even when some things feel improbable or irrational, I don't dismiss it immediately. My feelings are the language of my soul. And even if some feelings are unpleasant, they're trying to deliver a message. And I'm learning how to honor that and to listen to them. Now I take some time each and every day to quiet down. And I've made a list of things that nourish me. I've also made another list of things that deplete me. And the more I'm able to do things that nourish me, the sharper my intuition becomes. I'm learning to regulate my emotions. When I was unable to regulate my emotions, I found myself feeling overwhelmed and out of control sometimes. By learning to regulate my emotions, it helps me to stay grounded and to be strong. And it makes me less likely to fall prey to other people's manipulations in the future. I have practiced giving one-word names to my feelings, like tightness, or frustrated, or sad, or elated. I feel more in control when I am able to put a name to my feelings. I've learned to not resist my feelings and to expand my window of tolerance for uncomfortable feelings. The more I can be with my feelings rather than resist them or fear them, the more resilient I feel. Learning to feel and tolerate and name and regulate my emotions has contributed to me trusting myself more. My sense of inner stability in my life is now my new baseline. I am valuable. My experience is valuable. I am assertive now, and my ability to express my thoughts and emotions in a healthy way, in a calm way, is normal for me now. I have practiced saying no in a calm and confident way, and I have practiced clarity about my wants and needs, at least to myself. I know that it is totally normal for couples to have disagreements now, and I no longer freak out when I disagree with someone. But I also know what behaviors are red flags. And some examples of behaviors that I have learned to look out for are if someone is harboring a grudge easily, or if they refuse to forgive, or if they don't take responsibility for their own actions and they seem to blame me for everything, or if they always put themselves first, or if they do the opposite and do everything for me but then turn around and blame me for being needy and demanding. Also, if they are emotionally distant or unavailable or avoidant. Whenever I want to have more closeness, if they shut down and retreat, that is a red flag now. Also, if they are condescending or criticizing me in all ways, in big ways and in small ways, and they try to make me feel bad about myself, especially if they are controlling and overly dominating, and especially if they're verbally abusive or physically violent. But I'm no longer afraid to seek professional help if a situation becomes too toxic. The relationship that I now maintain is mutually respectful, with open communication and safety in expressing emotions, and a desire to soothe. I look for signs that we build each other up. I look for mutuality. I look for words that are supportive and actions that are safe and secure and create a safe environment. Now I look for emotional presence. I am a person who easily forgives, and I look for the same extended to me. Making mistakes is simply a sign that I am human. And the relationship that I now maintain allows me to be human. I have learned that I don't have to conform to be accepted. It can sometimes still be difficult to accept that I am different, but the truth is that I know that people are not all the same. And I love to accept myself as the unique individual that I actually am. And I don't feel like I have to apologize for who I am. I don't feel like I need to change in order to fit someone else's mold. I understand that fitting in is actually impossible. I choose my true self now. It turns out that there are many advantages to being this way. So I now choose to focus on my advantages and my uniqueness instead. I've learned to give myself permission to make mistakes and to learn from my mistakes, just like everyone else. I've also learned to let go of trying to make sense of what happened, or to try to figure out what really happened, or to have closure, because I have realized that there are some things and some behaviors that I will never understand. So instead, I have let this go. I have released this need and I feel free. I deserve to get my needs met, and I know that now. I know that there is nothing about me that made any abuse my fault. I have plenty of admirable qualities. I have qualities that helped me survive. I deserve to have my needs met. And if I hear gaslighting or victim shaming from anyone, including from people I previously respected or looked up to, like spiritual teachers, I remind myself that my experience was not my fault, and I place the blame right back where it belongs. And I know that although I was vulnerable, I have learned a lot, and I am not a victim. I am a survivor, and I am a thriver. I have learned that there is a big difference between toxic positivity and a positive and empowering lifestyle. So I choose an empowering lifestyle, and I allow myself to be me. I know that emotions can be uncomfortable. It is tempting to try to replace uncomfortable feelings with positive ones when I just want to feel better quickly. But I know that my healing journey must include getting real about what I'm feeling. So rather than setting unrealistic goals of being healed by being happy all the time or toxic positivity, I try thinking of recovering from gaslighting as an ongoing process, and that is okay. I embrace my truth. I embrace the emotions that naturally come with my truth, even emotions that other people think of as negative. Doing this does not make me weak. It doesn't make me overly sensitive. It doesn't mean that I am a victim. It means that I am trusting myself in a way that I once thought was impossible. I now trust myself completely, and I love myself, and I validate myself, and I accept myself. Because healing is an ongoing process, it's important for me that I am allowed to take my time. I know what is best for me, and I honor my unique pace and path. Maybe the most important thing is that I have learned that the opposite of being gaslit is actually trusting my intuition. If something doesn't feel right to me, I no longer jump to the conclusion that I'm the one who must be wrong. As I'm reconnecting with my intuition, I am open to the surprises that I'm stumbling upon. I have a lot more wisdom and a lot more strength than my gaslighter ever gave me credit for. I am reconnecting with my identity, and there is no hurry. I love this deep exploration of who I am, who I was, and who I am becoming. My life is now in my own hands, and I have all the time in the world to rediscover myself.